for anybody who did not watch the debates, there are only 6 people in this debate session. Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, Amy Klobuchar, Tom Steyer, and Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Okay? Andrew Yang did not make the cut. Cory Booker dropped out. Tulsi Gabbard didn't make the cut or said she wasn't going to show up anyway. And that's it. Okay, so the Michael Bloomberg can't be in any debates because they don't allow evil devils in the debates. They decided they weren't going to have any cannibals, any Muppets, evil clowns in the debate. Now, the reason why he can't be in the debates is that he's not taking money, any donations. So if you don't take donations, you don't meet the criteria in order to be in the debates because there are thresholds that must be met. So let's just start here in the beginning. Let's start at the beginning. It's very simple, guys. It started off talking about Iran, okay? But instead of it being Iran, first they started off talking about Iraq. So that's why some people get the impression that this was all about Bernie Sanders, an attack on Bernie, because right out the gate they're asking Bernie about his war vote in Iraq, and then it like pitted Biden against Bernie. But if you've been following the contest, you'll know that Bernie Sanders has no problem bringing up the fact that Joe Biden, he voted wrong. He voted for the war in Iraq. The most colossal blunder in our history ever. And he voted for it. I did not. I strongly opposed it. And he did strongly oppose it. So, I don't even know how you try to clean that up if you're Joe Biden. And in fact, I think it put Joe Biden on his heels early. Because nobody wants to start the night off admitting that they made a mistake. I mean, if you can avoid that, you're going to try to avoid it. And that's what Joe Biden tried to do. And once again, Joe Biden uses Obama to try to blunt the force of his own choices. Now, look, when Joe Biden chose to support the Iraq war, he wasn't kicking it with Barack. He did that on his own, Johnson. That's right. Joe Biden supported that horrible war, that unconstitutional war, that war on a lie. He did that on his own. But what does he do? He says, well, Obama voted against it, and then he chose me as his VP, so basically, who cares? Because Obama chose me anyway. So if Obama think I'm good enough for the country, obviously everyone else should think the same thing, even though no one votes for vice presidents. One guy picks the vice president. The president's chosen by everyone. So the logic that Joe Biden uses doesn't make much sense, but that's okay. Because when I'm talking very forceful, and I'm trying to explain myself, and very much around the way. First things first. First things first is Barack Obama chose me in the Biden and Obama administration, him being the president and me being the vice president. The second point is I didn't really need to say that because we all know I wasn't the president. I wouldn't be able to run now if I was the president before. So obviously Obama was the president. I was the vice president. Third thing's this. I don't know why I'm talking right now. I need to get Polygrip. Super enforced Polygrip on my dentures because I'm feeling slippage. And I'm not trying to make fun of the dental situation. I've got my own dental situation. Everybody has their own dental situation. But I'm saying is Biden, he just lies through his teeth so much. That's why they're trying to jump out his head. Okay? And he's making up bad excuses that I don't think go over well. But we'll get to some of those later. So, yes, Bernie scored points in the beginning because he was on firm standing. I mean, he voted against a war that's grossly unpopular. That we really got nothing out of it except money that we gave ourselves. Do you understand that? People have come up with ways to pilfer their own government through faulty wars and fake wars and wars of proxy wars and all this garbage. That's all that is. It's a money grab for corporations. That's it, period. The military-industrial complex, that's what it's all about. All right. Then they switched to Iran, okay? So they start talking about Iran and how, of course, everyone's in agreement that Trump did something wrong, okay? Something he did wrong, and there's various degrees of how wrong he was. There's just gradients in this thing, okay? Iran. What did Afghanistan? Oh, somehow we got in Afghanistan also talking about that, and of course, that gives an opportunity for Pete Buttigieg to start talking. And I don't know what for, because he really didn't have anything to add other than, he was there for like 2 seconds. And he helped some people like go to the store or something. Like that's the extent of his military training. He's a mayor of a small town, and he really has no like strategic experience. He's not a part of any committees, any subcommittees, any Kiwanis organizations. He wasn't even a Boy Scout, and we're sitting there. We had to listen to him because he volunteered to drive people. He was a chauffeur, basically, in Afghanistan. Now, don't get me wrong. It's dangerous being a chauffeur in Afghanistan. Okay? I get that. All right? But to act like Mayor Pete has some vast, experience and military experience is just horrible. It doesn't make sense, and it just doesn't. Okay? It just doesn't make sense. So anyway, let's keep it going. Steyer. I don't know. They want this job. They want this Tom Steyer. Tom Steyer is a guy with a lot of money who ran a business. We'll talk a little bit more about him later. Okay. He talked a lot tonight. I don't know why Tom Steyer's talking. Someone asked me, why is that guy talking? I tweeted something about Tom Steyer. I was like, Tom, I just used his first name. And somebody I don't know was like, who the hell is Tom? Who is Tom? And somebody else tweeted to her saying, it's the rich guy on the stage to the left who spent $10 million just to be there. That's the extent of Tom Steyer being on stage. And he's talking. It's like somebody should just run up and be like, Tom, you, hey, you, hey, woo. Like Kevin Hart should just run up and ping, ping, poo, ping. Hey, Tom, woo, hey, Tom. Pow, ping, pong. Don't talk. No talking. No. Ping, boom, pow. Go over here. Pow. Gonna need you to leave. Gonna need you to step aside. Time to. That's what needs to happen. But it didn't happen. He stayed for the whole debate, which is unfortunate. Okay, so Bernie stood head and shoulders over the rest because when they talked about, he didn't talk about troop de-escalation. He talked about, let's bring our people out. Let's bring the whole team home. Everybody come home. Everybody. Get him too. Everybody get him. Everybody come home. Bring all the troops home. And it was like, no uncertain terms, Bernie felt that everyone should come home. And I think that's the way most Americans feel too. I mean, we still got people in places in the Middle East, like Afghanistan. We got like a cursory amount of people. Like, it's like there are Americans that are like, we still got people there? We still got people there? Somebody tell Steve to wake up and get up. Come, somebody go get Steve. Go get Steve. I mean, most Americans do not want us in the Middle East, bogged down in wars, in harm's way, for any reason whatsoever. They don't like the reasons for why we went. There are entire websites built on the idea that these wars were horrible ideas, right? Built on the stance that these are horrible ideas, that we should not be in these wars, that we were tricked into these wars. With thousands and thousands of people who visit them every day, thousands and thousands of members. America doesn't want us in these wars, and Americans want our people to come home. And Bernie Sanders was the only candidate with enough cojones to be like, we need to bring everybody home. Now, Mayor Pete is the one's like, he's like, well, we need to leave a certain amount of people there for no reason other than, because we need to do this because we need to have diplomacy at the forefront and at the back front and at the side front. We need to have more of a conversation about what we need to be. And there's no reason why we can't have that conversation be about, it's like, what are you talking about, man? I tweeted it out about Pete. I said, guys, Pete has the uncanny ability to use the most amount of words to say the least amount of important things. He's demonstrably, ineffectively, but effectively, ostensibly, disruptively, interrogatorially, tangentially, simplistically, descriptively, the most adverb using, indubitably, unnecessarily, candidate on any stage or ceremony or event. And he just keeps yipping and yapping. And only to those who love to hear big words. Those are the people that he appeals to. That and people in Hollywood who want to look like they like gay folks. So they want to cozy up. This is the way they make points. And a lot of what people do is for that. They do it for appearances. Well, if you support him, you look progressive. What's he stand for? I have no idea. What did he just say? I have no idea. I fell asleep while he was talking. I don't know what his responses were for 90% of this stuff. But if you say you support him, people go, okay. All right. Give her a job, you know? Give her a job. All right. So, now you can look at this like they went after Bernie if you like, but I tend to look at it like they gave him like some softballs because Bernie has the most clear-cut positions on these issues. Right after they went to Iran and Iraq, or Iraq and Iran, they then went to NAFTA, or trade agreements, okay? And once again, we got Bernie Sanders against NAFTA, against these trade agreements, these horrible trade agreements that send jobs overseas. He talks about it all the time, how detrimental it was to our economy, to working folks here in America, those who had those manufacturing jobs before the catastrophe of Bill Clinton really took hold. And then we got Joe Biden who voted for him. Joe Biden's the guy, he's right there. And now I'm going to say this. I think that Bernie should have hit Biden harder. Yeah, he should have hit him harder on this because that's the guy right there. That's a chief architect of these horrible trade agreements right there, Bernie. Get his ass. No, not figuratively, not someone else. No, literally get him. He's right there. Like you can reach out and touch him. It's like when we watch these horrible court cases where a parent has lost a child to some insane, callous action of a person, and the father is in the courtroom, and that person's sitting there with a smug look on his face, and something in that dad, deep down in that dad, is like, I'm going to get you. And he does. He gets him. And then you had the bailiffs. They pretend to get him off. Like, oh, hey, Pop, come on, Dad. Like, but they're not really trying that hard. That's what America was feeling. And that's what we would have felt if Bernie would have went after Biden harder on this. No one likes the trade agreements. Well, most people don't like them, right? Who realize that jobs over there, jobs in Vietnam, making your clothes, doesn't help workers here in the United States. Like, most people kind of get that. Like, you don't need to explain China on everything. Doesn't go well. I mean, unless unless you invested in the China corporation or. All right, so we got get a little carried away. We got more here. We got more, Tim. Warren. She talked about labor rights, environmental rights, standards, these things of these nature. And she did pretty good on the trade stuff. And of course, Elizabeth Warren will do well on those things because that's sort of like her bread and butter. She talks a lot about corruption, and you can tie corruption into our trade agreements. There's always an element of corruption when you have the lobbyists there. Someone said something like we got 4 lobbyists for every politician up on Capitol Hill. And that's part of the reason why we had such horrible trade agreements, because we have so much horrible and so many lobbyists on Capitol Hill. And then something interesting happened, guys. Tom Steyer called out Pete Buttigieg. He was like, he called out Pete. He said, and of course it was, because Tom is a big climate change guy, right? So he called out, I don't know how we got from NAFTA and trade to climate change. Oh, I know what it was. Well, see, in the trade agreements, there's a new trade agreement that Donald Trump is pushing, and this trade agreement doesn't address climate change, okay? So the environmental impacts of a trade agreement that doesn't even like mention climate change at all. It's like it doesn't exist. I don't know about you. I live in Maryland, near Washington, D.C., and it was 73 degrees Saturday. And it hasn't been 73 degrees in a Saturday in January ever. Okay? Now sprinkles, you can go ahead, bubbles, and think that's fine. It felt good, but it was scary. You know what I'm saying? It's like wearing protection and then not wearing it. It felt good, but it was scary. Like, I know I'm going to be sick Monday. I know. In fact, I was talking to my brother about it on Thursday, telling him about the weather, what it was going to be on Saturday, and we were already planning on being sick on Monday. Because you're not supposed to have 74-degree days or 73-degree days in January, okay? So anyway, okay. On to it. So anyway, Tom Stein called out Mayor Pete for Mayor Pete's being a millennial, but not giving a damn about millennials like having a planet when they grow up. or for their kids, right? So Tom Stein made a good point there. I think it's a relevant point, but it's sort of like what Pete does. See, there's a lot of sellouts. See, as a black man, we tend to believe that sellouts only pertain to black people who sell out black folks. No. There are other sellouts besides Steven from Django. There are sellouts like Mayor Pete. He sells out everybody, but particularly younger people. Yeah, he's the youngest candidate in the race because he beats Tulsi Gabbard by about 6 months. And about, 6,000 hours of McKinsey and Company employment. But the point is, like Mayor Pete, he sells out Americans, he sells out millennials because he's the young guy who should be talking like, hey, we need to fix this planet. We need not let our kids, have to be saddled with a horrible planet. Instead, he's like the other way. And that's what Tom's point is. Like, you're supposed to be the young person fighting for the environment that you're going to grow up in, and you don't. And Pete just brushed it off like, blah 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 blah. And that was about it. And then it happened. You're darn right it happened. You're darn right it happened. Listen here. So you want to ask me the question? You're going to ask me the question about Bernie Sanders. Did Bernie Sanders say what I think he said, what I said he said about the election? When I said, Bernie said, that we said if you said, and you said about what she said and he said, because we said. And it was a part of the discussion that we all knew was going to come, where they started doing the he said, she said, because 2 years ago, Bernie Sanders had a dinner with Elizabeth Warren. No one else was at the actual dinner. It was a closed-door dinner between the two. I don't know if I like that, but okay, fine. Because it leads to situations like this, where 2 years later, Elizabeth Warren's like, he said a woman can't be president. And Bernie's like, that's not what I said. And it's just back and forth because he's saying it didn't happen. It's not what he said. And she's saying that's what he said. And it's like, look, here's the deal, guys. Man, I mean this with all due respect to all the ladies in the house. Who cares? No, seriously, who gives a damn? No one cares. No one cares who said what. The bottom line is, Elizabeth Warren, are you the person that should be president? See, if you're the person that should be president, it doesn't matter if this figurative, this figurative lady, this imaginary person can be president or not. No one votes for an imaginary person, okay? Everyone's different. Everyone's unique. Being a president is a really big deal. And I don't really like the idea that, well, you think a woman should be president. Hell, I don't think a man should be president unless they're a very special kind of guy. That's my opinion, right? I almost don't believe anybody should be president. Like any person walking around. I mean, it's too much power for anybody to have, really, in my opinion, except for one person at this point. Like, I'm always looking at Bernie like I'm checking him out because I support Bernie, but that's a hard choice to get behind any candidate because it's a lot of power for anyone to have. And then you're not even talking about real people. You're talking about a woman. Like, what kind of woman is she? A tall woman, a short woman, a smart woman, a not so smart woman, a rocket scientist, a doctor, a lawyer, a spy, or did she arm wrestle? Did she do WMA or MMA or what is it? Like, no descripting anything. Just can a woman do it? And for you to float the idea, or for you to flat out say, he said no woman can be president. Well, are we talking about Cardi B, or are we talking about, like, you? Now, I like Cardi B, but I wouldn't vote for her to be president. Call me kooky, but I like, she can do these songs. I like Lizzo, but I don't want her to be my senator. You understand what I'm saying? So it matters what woman you're talking about. Okay? And in the conversation, you sound like you guys just had a theoretical conversation. Now, the thing about this, and I think Bernie won this argument hands down. And the reason why I say Bernie Sanders won this argument hands down is very simple. Elizabeth Warren brought it up. Bernie Sanders refutes it. And then she shut up about it. Now, if you say Bernie said something, he says he didn't say it, and you let it go, who looks like the liar? And if you're going to let it go, why bring it up, Johnson? Sounds to me like somebody did the numbers and realized, hey, this ain't working like I thought it was going to work. Hey, Liz, what do you want now? Liz, come here. Let me talk to you. Me and the staff been crunching the numbers, right? Crunching numbers. And I know you're not going to like this, Liz, but that whole Bernie said women ain't shit thing, well, it's not working. It's not going over as well as I thought. Not going over. So you're trying to tell me that this idea that you guys came up with isn't working out the way you told me it would work out. Okay. Put your head in the door jamb. Now just put your diddly head in the door jamb. Go ahead, get your head in the door jamb. Get that head in the door jamb. This was what you call an unforced error, ladies and gentlemen. It did not need to happen. Understand? If you accuse somebody of something, you go through no one said, hey, Elizabeth, what did Bernie say at the meeting? Did Bernie say that women can't be president? That wasn't it. No, you offered this information. You offered it up. You submitted it. So you brought it up. If you bring up something, you got to ride or down. And you can't just bring it up and be like, let me go ahead and just let it go, because I don't want to argue with Bernie. No, motherfucker, you started the argument. You started the argument. There was no argument. People were not arguing. And then you brought up a thing that they've been talking about for 48 hours. And then when you're on the world stage, you say, well, I don't want to start an argument. Little late. Oh, fiddly sticks, Tim Black. Oh, golly gee willikers, Tim Black. There you go again. There you go, being a stickler for realism. There you go, holding people accountable for things they say. I was talking in jest. I didn't literally mean he said women can't be president. And another thing you guys need to know about this before I get a lot of hate mail about it, I noticed that when Elizabeth Warren talked about this issue, she never quoted him verbatim. She made it the conclusion of how he felt. She didn't say, Bernie said a woman can't be president. She said, Bernie doesn't think a woman can be president. That's different. That's different. That's different, guys. That's an interpretation. That's you interpreting what I say. That's not what I said. Okay? So, that's different. If you say, this is what I think. No, I'll tell you what I think. If I say, I don't think a woman can be president, that's me saying it. But if I say, well, Donald Trump's a son of a, and he's a horrible, and Bernie runs through the litany of things, and the most horrible, most bigoted, most worst, most existential threat, most, bad person who doesn't flush and pees on the rim of the toilet seat and never puts the lid up, and he's the guy that leaves the lights on, and he's a jackass, and he never says please or thank you, and doesn't cough in his jacket, the sleeve of his coat, or nothing. Okay? That guy. That's not the same thing as saying, saying the thing. It's like, all right, so I'm going to get off it, but I just want to make that emphatically clear, guys. She sucked on this part. This was not good for her. This hurt her. You understand? Because there are a lot of Bernie supporters that I know, okay, who was looking at Elizabeth Warren as their number 2, okay? All right? They were looking at her as number 2. They were like, but they're the 2 progressives, Tim Black. And if you don't support her, who are you going to support? She's got to be number 2. But now that she stabbed him in the back for a reason that she even admits is not worth it, what's the point? Now what do people think? Oh, and by the way, let the record show, and she did not refute it, Bernie tried to push her to run in 2015. So I think Elizabeth Warren was a woman in 2015, and Bernie tried to persuade you to run in 2015, and you're a woman. What does that really say? All right, I'm going to leave it alone. Should I leave it alone? Is my point clear, though? Does it make sense? I hope it does. Okay. Klobuchar started talking about competency. Okay? Competency and, not gender. Which is good. Klobuchar talked about competency and not gender. It's about competency, if you're competent. But then, as Klobuchar usually does, here's the road. There goes Klobuchar. Here's the road. There goes Klobuchar. She goes off the road and starts giving you these anecdotal reasons of all these women that did stuff. Well, Joan of Arc did this, and that woman who, Nadia Comaneci did these flips, and Rachel Dolezal pretended to be a black woman. Look, what are you talking about? What does that got to do with sexism and presidents? And what are you talking about? And it's like, it became a bad thing, guys, where all of a sudden, now it's the battle of the sexes. That's not good either, okay? It's not good for us to be judging who should get what job, theoretical people, like abstract people, no one specifically talking about gender. And this person, well, a woman should be a woman should be the primary caregiver because she's a woman, and the guy should be the primary. These antiquated ideas are just as hurtful or just as harmful as saying women should be, women because women are women, and that's why women these ideas. I think they're played out. It should be about your agenda, not your gender. Okay, what do you plan to do for me and my family? What's the likelihood of you actually fighting for that? Can I trust you? I gotta look into your soul. These things matter. What's your track record? Those things matter so much more than who stands up or who sits down or who has a bra, who doesn't, you know? Or who might need one. But you get my point. Okay. And like I said, Warren, she didn't do herself any favors on that point. Now, they're going to report it differently in the cable news, I'm sure. They're going to be like, oh, Warren did a great job of not standing up for the thing that she brought up. Okay, they're going to say that, but I don't think she did. Then the conversation switched to Medicare for All. Yeah, it started, what's a Medicare for All? And it was like, Bernie's on the hot seat. Now, Bernie got to explain shit we already know, like, we already pay more than any other country for our health care, but we don't get the best health care. So at least if we start paying more for it, we can have the best. Because we already pay the most and don't have the best. Not even close to the best. Not even in the top 100. Do you understand? You already pay a premium. People go bankrupt and people die. Bankrupt and die. Okay? Quality of life, okay? Because of our insurance companies and our health industry, okay? And the idea that Klobuchar and Buttigieg and Biden have is, it's okay. We'll just tinker around at the edges because, Obama did, so we need to just make that plan better. No, a lot of people don't like Obama's plan, okay? Okay, so Bernie had to spend his lot of time like teaching people that 2 plus 2 is 4. If you take 2 and you add another 2 and you put them together, you come up with a sum of 4. And I had to keep saying that, well, Bernie, we don't really understand what you mean by that. If you have 2 different things, if you have 4 things, you have 2 things over here, and you have 2 things over there. You take the 2 things, the two groups of 2 things. You put the 2 things, the 2 and 2 things together, and you count them all in succession. You come up with 4 things. I don't get it. What is Bernie talking about? Bernie's crazy. I don't know what he's talking about. If you take the things, if you have 4 things, Jesus Christ, Lord have mercy. Jane, I can't work with these people. Jane, put my prescription in. Jesus. If you have 2 groups of 2s, you idiots, you take the things, you put the things together, you count the things. That's like trying to explain, I don't know, gravity to people who can't jump. It's like, if you jump up in the air, you will have to come down. But why? We pay more than Australia and Sweden and Canada and Austria, Rome, France, and Zimbabwe. I could just keep naming countries. I only had to think. Mexico and Tupalupa and Geneva and Saudi Arabia. Like, I could just name every country. It don't even matter where it is. And I can be sure we pay more than it. Okay? Johnson. All right. Woo! There's one part of this debate where Abby Phillips, she says, she looks Bernie in the eye, man. And I couldn't believe she said that. She looked him in the eye and she said, so Bernie, so let's say you get Medicare for All passed. Why would you want to bankrupt the government? And all I could think while I'm watching this was, why is it every time they want to stick it to Bernie with bullshit like things they pull out the air to discredit him, they always use a black woman to do it? Like, why is it like earlier today it was like Whoopi Goldberg, and last weekend it was Joy Reid, and week before that it was some other black woman I don't know. That was Abby. Every time it's like a thing. It's like an ingredient. Like, we're gonna, hey, you black woman, come here. What do you do? Work at Arby's. Come here. Put this on. All right, get out there. I need you to, hold on a second. Do you like Bernie Sanders? I think it's okay. No, you don't. You want a job? It's like that's what they do. And I know it's wrong for me to say it because, like, it's not based on anything. Abby Phillips is probably very educated, very articulate, way more articulate than I could ever be, right? She uses all her consonants correctly. She never spits when she talks, okay? Didn't need to be told to take the gum out of her mouth before she goes on set. None of that, okay? Joy Reid, regardless of what we say about her, she's a smart lady, okay? Okay? Smart lady, okay? IQ in a respectable position, okay? The dot is where it needs to be on the side of the numbers. But it just keeps happening. She actually looked Bernie in the eye and said, so this Medicare for All thing you want to do, why do you want to bankrupt the government trying to do it? And it's like, I know for a fact she would never say that about these damn wars we're in. You know, like she would never be like, Joe, you're cool with war because you voted for it. Why is it okay to spend trillions of dollars killing people that you don't even know, man? Like, couldn't we spend that money other ways? Like, why you want to bankrupt the government? Huh? Like, no, but see, when it comes to our life expectancy, our kids' life expectancies, grandma being able to be here to see little Jimmy first steps, like now we got to talk about cost. I'm going to go blow up the Middle East. How much you going to spend? Don't even tell us. Just go do what you need to do, bro. Hey, grandma needs an operation. Oh, God. How much this is going to cost? God. Oh, wow, that much, huh? Oh, God, that seems like a lot. That's America. And you don't find it hypocritical at all. And that makes you a freaking hypocrite. That's not a problem for your ass. It's, the bomb's cool. This is the seventh debate. In the early stages of the debates, there were so many people that there were separate nights, right? So I don't know how many debates there have been. So let me put it this way. Every debate, Amy Klobuchar brings up her 90-year-old dad. Every debate. And it's supposed to tug at your heart. Oh, God, Amy's dad is 90 and he was a wine head. He was a juice head or something. Like, we're supposed to feel really bad that Amy grew up with dad, who drank too much or something. Fall asleep on at the bar, not make it home. Used to pee himself. Say mean things. Get out of here, Amy. That's why you're short. You're short just like your mother. You're never going to be tall. Say really mean things to her. But the kicker always is when I got to listen to this long anecdotal story about her damn dad. He's 90. And he's alive. So whatever bad shit he did, he's still alive. My dad died at 60. So I don't feel bad for your dad drinking Coke 45 or Midnight Train or Bacardis or whatever the hell he drank, or what's an old drink? Boilermakers, or I don't know, what's the old margaritas, scotches on the rocks. Like, I don't care. Okay? Because he's alive at 90. So I just put this down. Like, I'm tired of hearing Amy talk about her dad. You would think we're going into Iowa in a couple weeks, like 3 weeks. We still got to hear about how bad dad was. Come on, man. All right. That wasn't the worst question. And it was a lot of horrible questions, guys. A lot of horrible questions. One of the worst questions was from some guy in Des Moines. I don't know who he was, but it's the Des Moines Register and CNN. They sponsored the event, okay? First caucus state is Iowa. So it's a big deal. There was something said about insurance. The question was this. Hi, there's someone in Des Moines. The question comes from Dale out of Des Moines. And he works in the insurance industry. And Dale would like to know, What's going to happen to all the insurance jobs if Medicare for All passes? What about those people who work at the insurance companies? And when they said it, I just wanted to just reach through the screen. Just reach through the screen and wrap my hand around the throat of the person asking the question. I just wanted so badly to choke slam. It's like one clean move. It's choke slam. And you slam them. You drive them through the ground. It's like Joe Biden would say, you want to fight? You want to do some push-ups? You want to fight? What you want to do? You want to fight? Want to go outside? We can do it, buddy. Come on, bucko. Come on, bucko. You think I'm an easy win? I ain't no easy win. You walk over, but you're limping back. You choke slam. I choke slam you. Me and my hairy legs and the roaches, we choke slam you. Come here, sucker. We're going to choke slam, bucko. Me and Potsy Weber and Ralph the Mouth, we're going to choke slam you like a Happy Days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, slam. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, slam. Choke slam. I don't give a damn about what happens with the people who work at the insurance companies, okay? Do you care about, like, the coal jobs went away too, right? I care. Like Bernie said he has a plan. We're going to transition people out, okay? It ain't going to happen overnight. It's too many people. It's going to take 5 years, okay? Okay? But being an insurance adjuster or whatever, okay, there are other industries that still use insurance. Like, no one's getting rid of Geico, mofo. It's still going to be Geico, okay? It's going to be home insurance. It's just health insurance, all right? So one of the things I noticed during the course of the night, and I think it was an excellent strategy by Joe Biden. Joe Biden did something that I think he should have done, and it was masterful. It was masterful. It showed how keenly aware he is of the situation. His strategy was amazing because, for the most part, he shut the hell up. Yeah, his strategy was just be quiet. Let these guys run at each other all day. Let them kill each other. I'm just going to sit back and think about driving my Corvette, you know. You know, just sat back and just daydreamed. Oh, the younger days. Oh, yeah. Eating ice cream. Eating Ben & Jerry's, you know, just. That's what he was doing, Johnson. He was just daydreaming about the days of eating ice cream, and life was much simpler. Riding the Amtrak, eating ice cream. Then a conversation with the child care guys. And, like, I'm one of those people that I really care about child care. I think Klobuchar, I think this was her best. Was it? No, it was Warren. Warren gave a good speech about child care and how important it is. And, guys, I'm intimately acquainted with the child care industry. My mom worked as a child care provider when I was a young child. I've had children. Well, me and my wife have had children, and I've often reminded myself or remarked about how if it wasn't for the price of child care, we may have been able to live a little bit better. Like, we may have still been hood adjacent, but we wouldn't have been directly in the middle of the gunfire. Like, we could have been like, hey, what was that? Oh, that's down the block. But due to child care, we was like this. Pew! Pew! Because child care is so damn high. We always made that certain amount of money, you know, that sweet spot where you make just enough not to be qualified for any help. Yeah, that's where we always were. Just enough to be thrown to the wolves. Just enough not to get anything. Not a food stamp, not a voucher, nothing. That's where we were the whole time. And then so child care, I'm fully aware of this. So I'm for a child care program that helps parents with kids. I put out a tweet. I forget what it was. It was pretty good on this issue. It's on Twitter. Follow me at Real Tim Black. You'll see some cool tweets about the debates. Okay. Something I said about child care. tuition-free public college. Okay, that was the next topic. And I noticed while we were talking about tuition-free public college, and of course, Joe Biden was against it. He started talking about his plan, And I'm like, Joe's doing a lot of talking about college. And he's talking about a plan. But he has no name for the plan. And then I realized something. Joe doesn't name his plans because none of his plans are good enough to have names. It's like if you had a child, you just called him Child. Or you had a dog, you just called a dog Dog. Because you really no emotional connection to the child or the dog. Yeah? That's Joe Biden's plans. None of his plans have names. Name me a Joe Biden plan. Like, something. Like I know Bernie's Medicare for All. Like there's different plans. And somehow that came back up. And the whole time, this is what I wanted to say. This was very interesting. God, I wish I said it earlier. While they were talking about Medicare for All, guys, all I could think about was Andrew Yang. Oh, yeah, I just kept thinking, man, I wish Andrew Yang was up there. Because for 20 minutes, they talked about Medicare for All. And it was pretty obvious that everyone was talking about Bernie's plan. Because he wrote the damn bill. I was like, God, I wish Andrew Yang was up on that stage, man. I would love to hear him defend his stance that when we talk about Medicare for All, and when they've talked about it in every debate, that they're not talking about Bernie's plan. They're talking about an abstract idea like Medicare for All abstractly. They're not really talking about Bernie's plan. It would have been great, guys, to hear Andrew Yang have to defend that rubbish, that lie, that deception right there in public in front of everyone. But I'm sure the Yang Gang would have dismissed it anyway. They're all out to get him, trying to make him use words that make sense and be on the same topic as everyone else. This is what they do to the first Asian candidate, viable candidate for the presidency. They make him stay on topic and stop making up shit, just randomly just saying stuff in order to fool his voters into thinking he supports legislation he doesn't really support. Anyway, and yes, it does pain me that Dave Chappelle, today endorsed Andrew Yang. That bothers me. Yeah, it bothers me, Almost as much as it bothered me when Dave Chappelle quit Comedy Central. I mean, I was making thousands of dollars off those bootleg DVDs, and then he just up and quits? Gosh, man. Help a brother out. And now you support Andrew Yang, a guy who supports policies or doesn't support policies that he says he supports. And I'm beginning to think a lot of people that support Andrew Yang, like Childish Gambino and Dave Chappelle, they do so because he's the safe choice. Yeah, if you support Bernie, your career is over. But if you support Yang, it really doesn't matter because I got as much chance as winning as Yang. So it's like, it's okay. Like, man, who you support, and who you support, Gambino? Yang. Oh, okay. As long as it's not Pete or Bernie. Because if it was Pete, well, we know you don't like the blacks, but if it's Bernie, we know you don't like nobody. You don't like your job or your contracts. All right, back to this. Klobuchar, when we're talking about college, right? We talked about college tuition, free local college tuition, and Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar, they went on this competition. It was like a battle royale to see who was the bigger jackass. Yeah, you got Pete up there saying, well, it's not that we don't want, all the kids to be able to go to college and you can, do whatever you want to do. And if you want to make money, that's great. And I don't begrudge you making a lot of money. Make a lot of money. Just pay your own college tuition. I don't think it's right to pay for rich people's college. Pete Buttigieg is not he did not grow up a rich person, okay? But What schools did Pete go to? Did he go to free local? Did he go to reasonably priced local colleges? Or did he go Ivy League colleges? See, here's the thing, guys. Free local college tuition is free for everyone because, well, everyone needs to be invested. If not, it gets stigmatized. That's the whole purpose of it, being universal. You don't want it means tested. You want it universal. Everybody has skin in the game, okay? But let's keep it a little bit real. Something Pete is incapable of doing. Rich people are not going to skimp on college. They're not going to be like, ooh, we can save $2,000 if we go local college instead of sending them to Stanford. Because rich parents don't send their kids to Stanford just because it's called Stanford. They send them there because of the prestige. Now, you may save a couple of bucks going to Prince George's Community College or the University of District of Columbia, UDC, but there will be no bragging rights and cocktail parties. And that's part of the reason why parents send their kids to swanky schools. Those three actresses, those two white ladies from Friends or whatever, Who's the Boss or where are they from, who got caught like bribing the school to get their kids in, what kind of college was that? You think they wouldn't have bribed to get their kids in that school if they could have went local free? No, I think they still would have bribed Johnson. I think they would have. Because, once again, rich people, people with money, well-off people, are not going to send their kids suddenly to the local community college because it's free. In fact, they may send them away more just to get away from poor kids like yours, in mine. Okay? Okay. Now, the only thing worse than the condescending tone of Pete Buttigieg explaining why rich people should pay tuition, which they're going to do anyway, Johnson, is Amy Klobuchar talking about Pell Grants as if Pell Grants are a new idea. So, Amy Klobuchar, what are you going to do to defeat the student debt, to do something about student debt? It's getting out of control. It's crazy. We got seniors on their deathbed owing student loans because you can't discharge a student loan. It's crazy. We got grandma doing something strange for a little bit of change, trying to come up with her 1980 college debt bill. Amy Klobuchar is like, well, I got a lot of great ideas, and there's nothing wrong with having pragmatic, reasonable ideas that are built on everyone working together, and those ideas, Pell Grants. And I'm like, Pell Grants? Yes, we can strengthen them with Pell Grants. Of course, we got Pell Grants. We can throw the Pell Grants in there, and we catch them, and we put the Pell Grants on. I'm like, Pell Grants is such an old idea. Pell is in a nursing home, and Grant is looking down on us from above. That's how old Pell Grants are. Guys, Pell Grants are not a new idea. If you get up on the debate stage and that's all you got is an idea about Pell Grants and student loan debt, your ass been in a coma for 30 years. Okay? I was in high school. They were talking about Pell Grants. I ain't been in high school for 30 years. All right? All right. We haven't talked that much about Tom Steyer because he's really forgettable. But one part that kind of stuck in my craw about Tom Steyer is he loved to brag about his work with climate change. Oh, Tom Steyer, climate change guy, right? Oh, climate change. I don't know if it was Abby Phillips or if it was the other young woman. But someone punched him in the mouth really good. They said, hey, Tom, you talk a lot about climate change, but being as though you made all your money pushing coal, ruining the environment, why should people listen to you? And I was like, yeah, that's a good question. So let me get this right, Tommy. Mr. Captain Kangaroo, you made billions of dollars destroying our environment, and now that you're trying to undo a little bit of the damage, now you want to be president. Hey, I think we should, that thing I was doing for the last 20 years that killed all the koalas and the snakes and the squirrels. My bad, yo. I had no idea that was dangerous. You knew it was dangerous when you were doing it, Tom. Why didn't you stop? Well, I had to make the $1 billion first, the billions of dollars first. But now, I'm totally for doing something good with it. I'm totally about that. You know, I'm trying to get into heaven, dog, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Okay. You know, Pete Buttigieg, he started talking about, someone asked him about black support. And whenever he asks Pete about black support, he goes on this long diatribe about how he's working with the blacks. And that one time that black lady said, hey, Pete, he was like, wow. Hey. Like that's supposed to mean something. The reality is that black people like Pete about as much as we like raisins in our potato salad. Not at all, Johnson. Not at all. And yes, the questioner was correct. It's not that he's gay. It's not that we don't know who he is. It's not that we don't know enough about him. The problem is we do know enough about him. How can you have a police force where you hire the first black chief ever, and then that chief finds out that the police officers on their force are racist as hell because he catches them on the walkie-talkies, not on their home phones, on the walkie-talkies given to them as equipment on the job, saying the most racist shit ever. He wants to fire them, but Pete didn't fire the police chief. No, Pete didn't fire the cops who said the racist shit. Pete fires the police chief. How's that guy supposed to sell us on this idea that, well, you know, I'm always constantly working on trying to make relations between blacks better. And I think that, you know, and back in South Bend, no, Pete, no. No. No one's buying what you're selling. No one cares. No one's listening. We can smell. We all have the ability to smell. You stink, and this whole... Okay. We're almost there, guys. Oh, and another thing that happened that was really interesting, besides Bernie burning it up and Biden hiding and Elizabeth Warren not helping herself too much, Tom Steyer went after Pete a couple of times tonight. And I'm not used to Tom Steyer being aggressive. He actually went after Pete. Now, I'm not saying he scored a whole lot of points, but it kind of shows you that somehow that Tom did the math and he realized that he could get some points off Pete. Yeah, in a lot of these polls, Pete's been dropping, not doing so well. And Tom Steyer went after him, and I thought it was great. So he hit him twice. That was interesting. There was one part where they asked Amy Klobuchar, hey, Amy, being as you've made the case here for pragmatism, and there's been a number of suggestions or policies that a number of the candidates here have put forth, and it seems like every one of them you were shooting down, saying they're unreasonable, not practical. Being as though you put yourself as the practical candidate, how do you expect to inspire voters to come out? And the response that Amy Klobuchar gave, guys, I don't know how else to describe it. She said this. She literally said, guys, I'm different. I'm from the Midwest. And we're not just a flyover state. But we're a state you want to stop at and have a beer, get to know people. And I'm sitting there watching this. I'm like, what the hell does that got to do with people being excited about electing you? In fact, it has nothing to do with electing you. You saying you're from the Midwest does not make me excited at all. Okay? Not at all. I mean, hey, look, let's keep it 100, guys. I know you love your Minnesotians. There's a lot of Minnesotians out there. I got nothing against Minnesotans. But I'm going to tell you this. I have yet to meet a person from Minnesota who didn't want a vacation on the coastal or the west coastal or a coastal state. That's right. I never met a bunch of people from Kansas going, screw New York. Who wants to go to L.A.? We got all this Kansas flat earth. This is great stuff, man. Ain't nothing like a night on the Hobbity horse down at the local Wallaby Wiki Mart. Like, that's where it's at. So miss me. So it's like selling us on this idea that this is the middle of the country, the heart and soul of the heartland. Yeah. And everybody that's in the heart and soul of the heartland wants to get the hell away from the heart and soul of the heartland and visit the armpits and the extremities a little bit, do some fishing and take in some sun. So Amy, all right. All right, guys, I'm gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna crush the closers because I took notes on all the closers, and then I'm gonna tell you the winners, the losers, and who needs to go to hell home. Stay tuned. Oh, there you go. My name is Tim Black. You're now tuned into the most watched Black independent media news network in the country. We cover politics, we cover pop culture, we cover whatever matters in your world. If it goes down, I'm covering it. We do a show, live show, Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. Friday nights, we got what? A call-in show. Anybody can call in. Throughout the week, we put out little clips, short clips of important news. You don't want to miss it. Stay on top of your news. Go with a reliable source. I'm there for you. TBTV. This is where it's at. Subscribe today and remember, don't you let nobody take your cornbread. Johnson. By popular demand, Johnson is here. I have new Johnson designs in my shop. If you want to pick them up, check them out. They are hilarious. They are revolutionary. And they're all Johnson. You're going to love them, man. Check them out. Both parties suck, Johnson. It's one of my favorites. Independent media only, Johnson. Keep it real. We are all Johnson. We are. We're one big community, guys. Go check it out. Independent media only. Johnson's in the house. Both parties suck, Johnson. We are here. They got a special going on right now. Free shipping. Get it today. Wolfpack. Thank you. All right. All right, we're back, guys. Now, check this out, guys. We're now at the closing statement portion of the show, and then we're going to go to winners, losers, and who needs to get their, pick their stuff up and go home. We're going to cover that. First, I want to go and check out, just want to remind you guys, we are taking super chats, guys, and I left off with, where are we at? We left off with Mad Wolf. So Mad Wolf, there you go. Mad Wolf, Warren refused to shake Bernie's hand at the end. Okay, so we're going to start from there, and I see that I got some more comments, and we'll be hitting those in a second. Okay, so here we go, guys. Here we go. Let's wrap this up. All right. So the closing statements are very interesting, and we know for some viewers, the closing statements will be the last thing people have on their minds. That's why they're called closing statements. As you walk away, you'll be thinking about them, and they will sometimes decide who won the debate and who did not win the debate. Okay, so they started off in this order. Closing statement number 1 was done by Amy Klobuchar. This is probably the most rehearsed canned line that they will give all night. It's the thing that they've been practicing in the mirror. 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4 potato. You know what I mean? Because, so much hinges on it. As I stated, it's the last thing you're going to say to voters. And this closing statement is so huge, guys, because there won't be another debate this month. And they're about to go into Iowa. And going into Iowa is sort of a big deal, okay? It's the first state, and people kind of look at Iowa like, oh, he didn't do so good in Iowa. I don't think people like him. Well, maybe I shouldn't like him. They start doing the Al Franken voice on your ass like, I don't know. They don't like him. Maybe I shouldn't like him. Yeah. I don't know. I don't even think his parents like him. So closing statements matter. Amy Klobuchar's closing statement started like this. She said, it's about our lives. It's not about this, not about that. It's about our lives. It's about, and then she started naming all the things that it's about. And she was doing pretty good until she said something like, it's about criminal justice. And I was like, did she say criminal justice before? Amy Klobuchar is a prosecutor who never brought a single charge against a police officer during her entire tenure as a prosecutor in Minnesota. Look it up. There are articles dating back about Amy Klobuchar's tenure as a prosecutor that she was tough on crime. In fact, Amy Klobuchar, it's sort of disrespectful that Amy Klobuchar is still in this race. I mean, Kamala Harris, gone. Why is Kamala Harris gone? Other than the word salady approach she had to, debates. Other than Tulsi Gabbard calling her out that time, embarrassing her in front of the whole world, looking at her record. Besides that, and besides her saying she loved, back in college, she loved Tupac's record 4 years before he even came out. But besides all that stuff, it was because she was a prosecutor, Johnson. So Amy Klobuchar and Kamala Harris have something in common. They both locked up as many poor and black people as humanly possible for extended periods of time. And still, Amy Klobuchar is in the race. In fact, whenever I bring it up, like it happened tonight, I was like, Klobuchar, what the hell is she still doing up there? Get your crap together, America. There was some woman that was like, well, what about Pete? What about other people? And I'm like, well, she still sucks. She needs to go. I can pick and choose who I want to. I don't have to call everybody out in one tweet. I can tweet about everybody. But it was like she was defending Amy Klobuchar. And I'm like, I don't know if you would be defending Kamala Harris this way. Because Kamala and Amy should be gone for, in my opinion, the same reasons. And the fact that Amy Klobuchar is still in this race, if you want to point to there being a form of discrimination in these debates, still they're not the same person, but they pretty much had the same job. So, anyway. So just the fact that she, I don't know, Amy forgot that people remember her as a prosecutor. It's kind of hard for you to talk about criminal justice reform when you had the job, you didn't do any reforming. You doubled down on, Amy Klobuchar was locking people up for graffiti, giving them a hard time for painting on a wall. That's what Amy Klobuchar was doing. And she'd bring up some anecdotal thing like, there was a child that was shot during their homework and we put up pictures and that's rare though. That's not happening every week in Minnesota. Well, no, what you were doing though is anybody with a little bit of weed. Not even enough weed to pass. Like, you ain't got enough weed to puff pass. It just be one puff. And Amy be like, gotcha. 3 years. That was Amy Klobuchar, okay? All right. Then Tom Steyer. Tom Steyer had the worst closing argument. What's up with Tom Steyer? He brought up team sports. I guess because he's Tom Steyer, TS. So he's brought up team sports. I guess he thought it was nifty. Oh, this is nifty, Tom Steyer, team sports. Bad decision. Too soon. He started talking about something about a teammate getting knocked out or someone kicks your teammate in the face or something. You shouldn't let your teammate get kicked in the face. And he feels like Donald Trump's kicking America in his face and he's a good teammate, so he's going to go down and lay some wood on Trump because something about somebody's face. And I'm like, what is Tom talking about? I respect the fact that you spend a lot of money combating climate change. And I even overlook the fact that you caused a lot of the climate change and you profited off of it. But I'm not going to overlook horrible references to sports. And to say back in high school you played a lot of sports, dude, chess is not a sport. You're like 5'5" and 100 pounds. Like, what sport did you play? Derby, like riding the horses. What do they call those people? The Kentucky Derby rider guy. Like, that's not. They call that a sport. I don't know. I guess it's a sport technically, but wouldn't the sport be the horse, not you riding it? I'm just trying to figure things out, man. I don't prepare a script. All right, jockey. That's it. A jockey. Okay, then there was Pete's Closer. Pete's Closer, like, closer should be something intimate, like something you lead a person with that makes them think. It should be some drama or some emotion in it. And I have yet to hear Pete say anything that sounded like he was emotionally connected to anything. I mean, Pete's Closer sounded like he was selling life insurance. And he really need to close the sale because, he's having a bad month. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is no emotion. There's, the words sound good. They're all like lined up and stuff. And like, but there is nothing. You feel nothing. It's a 55-degree day in the springtime. And you're just like, maybe I should wear a light jacket, but no one's going to the beach on this shit. No one's, no one's. And then there was Elizabeth Warren. She kept talking about moments. She said, this is our moment. This is our moment to shine, and we're fighting. We got to fight for it. We got to fight. That's her thing. She's a fighter. I'm a fighter, and we fight for it. And we got to keep fighting it. Let's fight, y'all. And it's fight time. And okay. And it's, we need to make real change. It started sounding a little Obama-esque, but I was like, okay, I'm with you. So far, she had the best one. I'm like, okay, cool. Okay, I'm gonna let it ride. And then she did the thing. She did the worst thing that she could do, I think. The worst thing. She brought up the woman thing. She's like, I could be the first woman president. I'm like, no one cares. Yeah, man, no one cares. No one cares you could be the first woman president. Can you be a good president? Will you be a good president? Tell us that you would be a good president. Don't do the Hillary. What? Did we learn nothing from Hillary? You really think that if you became nominee, you would beat Trump by saying, I could be the first woman president? Like, that didn't work for Hillary. And she had more power than you, more experience than you, came from a more wealthier family or more well-connected. Like, you can get no more connected than Hillary was. And here is Elizabeth Warren using talking points from a failed candidate, Hillary Clinton. It's like, what are you thinking about? Why would you do that? The last thought about Warren for the last debate leading into Iowa was she's a woman. And we already knew that. That's like no new information at all. That's not a deciding factor. For that, at least not for me. And I don't think Obama ran on that. I don't think Obama was like, well, look, listen, we're about to go into Iowa. I just want you to remember, if you vote for me, nothing great's going to happen for you at all. But I'll be the first black president, which is really important because I would like to do so. Ain't that right, Michelle? Like, no, he didn't do that because it's stupid. It's counterproductive. It won't work. It won't help you. It made people not want to vote for you. You're supposed to tell people what they get, not what you get. We don't care what you get. No one cares what you get, Elizabeth. We care about what we get. We are selfish. We want to know what we get for hiring you. When companies hire people, they're not going, oh, great, you're going to enjoy this salary, aren't you? Yeah, I know you are. Let's talk about how much fun you're going to have spending all this money we're going to give you. No, it's like, let's talk about what you can do for the company because that's why people hire you. They hire you because you're going to fulfill a need. And fulfilling the need of you being the first president is really not a need we need. All right, next. Bernie came next. Bernie, he talked about people living paycheck to paycheck and the 1% being greedy bastards and corruption and greed, and we need to end the greed, and we need to all band together to fight against, oligarchy and the 1% and take back our country. One person, all the people together can do this. We can all do it together. And it's like, as usual, it's a great thought, and it's something we can all get behind. I think it involves everyone. It's not segmented off, and it's tangible. It's like, okay, we might need to get our asses in the streets, though, because I don't think rich people are just going to be like, all right, take all the tax money you want. Like, we might have to do some stuff. But, yeah, okay, all right. Like I can get behind the idea that includes everybody. Let's eat the rich. I'm hungry. And then came Joe Biden. Joe Biden, he done a good night of being small. You got to be small. Got to be the leper. Never let them see you coming. That's a great Al Pacino line from The Devil, the movie where he played the devil or whatever. Yeah, with Keanu Reeves, that movie. Devil's Advocate, yeah. Said, you got one flaw. You're big. You want people to see you. Did I leave my boots underneath your bed, darling? You're showy. Got that big Texas thing going. You got to be like me. You got to be small, innocuous. You could be the leper. Move in and out. I love that. Biden's not the leper. He's not being small. He was being the leper. Then at the closer, he got really big and stupid. Yeah, he started talking about character and soaring and sweeping platitudes like the soul of America and all Americans need to band together and form Voltron and fight back the standpoint and moral fiber of America. We need to remember who we are and what we stand for. And I'm like, what America is this mofo from? The America that I know has tent cities with children in them. The America I know has people being shot in the streets by other people who are mentally unhinged. The America I know has bombs dropping in countries with brown people in them for no particular reason. But to Joe, it's a soaring speech full of hot-ass air. I don't see how it resonates. I don't know who it resonates with. People that read comic books instead of newspapers, and people who watch commercials in order to get their understanding of the world. Hey, look, guys, I watched this entire debate. It was somewhat underwhelming. It was by far not the best debate. And I'm uninspired by the level of actual dialogue about the issues that matter, right? But I can still come up with some winners and losers. Okay. Winners. The winners tonight. It's obvious for me who won tonight. Joe Biden won tonight. Okay, Joe Biden won not because he was impressive, but because a good portion of the night was spent chasing Bernie Sanders, and that was by construct. That's what they wanted. They wanted to go after Bernie, and I get it. He's the front runner. Quiet as is kept, he's been the front runner for a long time because no one's polling independent voters, no one's polling new voters, no one's polling people that don't vote. And those are all the people. That's part of the main part of Bernie's coalition. Okay? There's a reason why he has more supporters and more volunteers and he has more donations than any other candidate. Okay? There's a reason why. That's because he actually has more support than any other candidate. I know it seems wacky, but that's sort of how that works. Like, you raise more money because he's got more supporters. He's got more donations because he's got more supporters. Funny thing happens, people give money because they're supporting. I know. Don't have this conversation with anybody from corporate media. They'll tell you how that doesn't really make sense, that the people, that just because he has more donors, individual donations, doesn't mean he has actually more support. He could have more donations, but then those donations could be this money that fell from the sky, like not unlike manna in the book Deuteronomy. The manna fell from the sky, and the people ate it, and it was. So Joe Biden won because Joe Biden was able to just keep his dentures in and shut the hell up and, kind of cruise a little bit and not talk too much. But Bernie also won because no one scored a real knockout blow. Nobody really laid a glove on him. I mean, they talk bad about Medicare for all, but at this point, people either want it or they don't. They already know about it. Bernie's not going to back off of it. So it's a tie. I think it's a stalemate between Bernie and Biden, which is the way it should go, because those are the two front runners. Okay? That's who's going to come down to. And in my opinion, there's not a hard choice at all. Also, losers. Losers were, I gotta say, Elizabeth Warren was a loser tonight. And the main reason was, I was really focused on this thing, okay? I was focused on this allegation she made that Bernie said a woman can't be president. And I'm sure that most of the people who she needs to vote for her, because see, if you're a Klobuchar supporter, you don't give a shit about that story. If you are a Biden supporter, you could care less. But if you are a Bernie Sanders supporter or an Elizabeth Warren supporter, or if you are adjacent to either one of those candidates and you know about that story, you had the popcorn ready and you wanted to hear what she had to say. And to see her fold like a lawn chair, to fold like a cheap suit, to fold like my 10-year-old hiding his homework that he got a bad grade on because he wasn't paying attention. Like, to fold like that, that's not good. Now, they might not report it that way in corporate media because they have a tendency to throw Bernie under the bus and elevate anyone. But in my opinion, that's one of the losers of the night. Other losers were Klobuchar. Yeah, Klobuchar, I had to hear one more time of why. Like, I'm still wondering why she's still in this race. I know why she is, because you guys keep supporting her. There's somebody, though I've never met you in real life, there's somebody running around with Klobuchar stickers all over their car. It's probably like 10 people with about 1,000 Klobuchar stickers covering their vehicles because she keeps selling those things. And I think it's 10 people that keeps buying them, or either she's buying them from herself and funneling the money in like some money laundering scheme, right? Or maybe she got her 7 boyfriends to all go, or maybe Bill Maher is buying them out. All right. So those are the winners and losers. And actually, when we talk about dropout, I think Klobuchar and Tom Steyer need to drop out. Yeah, Tom, you've done all you can do here. And don't get me wrong, I think everybody should drop out except Bernie, but realistically speaking, somebody's got to run against Bernie. I mean, get him ready. Metal, steel sharpen steel, something like that. Wax on, wax off, whatever, however it goes. So I see Biden staying in. But realistically speaking, Klobuchar and Steyer should leave. They both should leave. They should join hands and skip into the, to the hereafter. Klobuchar goes back. She tries to keep her seat in Minnesota. And Steyer continues to try to save a rainforest, which is what he should be doing. Tom, you still have not paid up your debt of damage that you've done to this planet, making all that money. So go do that. Be helpful that way. You're not helping. You're like a weird, pubescent elf or something. It's creepy. You creep me out, dude. And you don't know what you're talking about. Man, listening to you talk about foreign policy, dude, like, foreign policy is not buying a foreign car. Like, his version of foreign policy is, well, you bought a BMW and, what are you talking about? And Amy Klobuchar talking about foreign policy is like watching my visually impaired aunt reach around for a bat in the dark. She's just ting-ling, ling, 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 ling. Knocking stuff over. Hussein. Just finding shit. Just Gaddafi. Oh. It's just, she doesn't know what she's looking for. Can't find the bat. Damn. During this debate, there was one point where Joe Biden was bragging about how many black people support him. He kept talking about, I got more black support than any other person. The black people like me. The black people know me. We know each other. I've known black people. I like black women. Black women like nice hips. Oh, I love being around black people. Man, I've always liked, Kanye West songs and different stuff like that and Stevie Wonder. Right up my alley, man. I'm really cool, man. It's really jive. Dude, it's dope. It's it's hot, baby. It's hot, mama. For real, man. Dig it. You can dig it. You can get down with it. You can get funky with it. It's cool. It's laid back to the side. It's on fleek. You know what I'm saying? It's popping. It's what's real. And all I could think was, there are black people that support you, Joe Biden. That's because you are familiar to us, and I will admit you are familiar, but not in the way you think, Joe. Now, you're familiar like in the creepy uncle that was mentally challenged that lived upstairs, and we used to slide the dinner plate to the front of the door, knock on the door, and run, and we were told to never, ever leave him alone with the kids. That's you, Joe. You creepy Uncle Buck that lives upstairs. Right? That everyone's scared of. And they know if anything ever happens, that Uncle Buck's who you got to go look for. And every couple of weeks, Grandma, goes in his room and cleans his room and airs it out. So, God, we got to do something to stop Uncle Buck. Uncle Buck got to go. And I mean that with all due respect, sir. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you for tuning into the Tim Black Show. Thank you for being here. We do this every time there's a debate. I go off. We get it in. Now I'm going to go to the Super Chats to see if there's some comments that people want me to read, and I will check them out now. All right. Man, okay. So next comment was Jonathan. That would be bad if my audio wasn't up with it. David Melford? No, Wolf. Wolf was the last one. Jonathan Trippy. Jonathan Trippy said, someone should tell Warren snakes don't do so good in the winter in Iowa. Got you. In winter in Iowa. There it is. Sean says, hey, I'm calling to reform of the Dems, not jumping to Repubs. I don't discuss Repubs because I don't care about them. I'm looking for a party to beat them. Now, don't look for a party to beat them. Look for a person to beat Trump. Because I feel you, Sean. I feel you. But, man, nah, dude, nah. It ain't party politics, right? It's one guy versus one guy. We had to vote if Bernie wins, we still got to reform the Democratic Party. It still sucks. So I get your point. I'm glad you cleared it up. But it wasn't just to you, Sean. It's like to everybody. Like these comments, like you're speaking for a whole lot of people. When you make a comment, you're representing a whole bunch of people that don't have a chance to make that comment. And then I'm supposed to speak to it. But I feel you, brother. Thank you for clearing it up, man. For making it clear where you stand. And Amy Matura. Because Bernie laughed at the frame of the CNN question, tomorrow headline will be, Sanders thinks sexism is funny. Yeah, it was like he just said, I didn't say it, and the lady act like he didn't say that, like, well, we don't believe you. Old Jewish guy saying he didn't say it. He get a load of this guy up here denying that you are right. How dare he deny that you said what you said he said? Like, how dare he know what he said out his mouth? Like, it's crazy. David Melford said, Pete said he has great black support from blacks that know him, whatever that is. Well, how many blacks know you, Pete? 2. And one of those guys is on your payroll. That doesn't count. Fam, you are full of it. And you're right, he did say that. Maker of Things says, Warren hands wouldn't shake. Fresh backstab. Oh, I do want to mention this about Warren and like one of the allegations, right? Now, I have not been able to source this myself, okay? But I've been told by a couple of folks. One of them says they know somebody on the Bernie Sanders campaign. And another one told me, and I don't remember how this person came about the information, but they were like, yo, I got a scoop for you. It turns out that document was put together. There was something put out that was showing a contrast between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. And in that document, it did say that Elizabeth Warren was not able to bring in a diverse coalition, that she would not be able to excite voters like Bernie can, and that the people that vote for her are more affluent. Now, here's the kicker about that. So she wasn't lying. She didn't fabricate that based on my sources, okay? But here's the thing. It's true. This is something that has been well documented for months about Elizabeth Warren supporters. They are more affluent. Bernie's average supporter is a worker at Walmart, Target, Amazon, or USPS. Okay? That's his average. And it's teachers, not professors, but regular third-grade teachers. Okay? Junior high teachers, like teachers at your local schools, at your elementaries and your middle schools. Okay? Those are the people who support Bernie's campaign. The average donation, $18. Elizabeth Warren is a different person altogether, and she forms a different type of following. To say that that's an attack and a smear, or that's trashing you, to say Bernie attracts more working class voters, is just to tell the truth. I don't even know how that became a negative. Now, I understand they may have had a pact, some type of agreement. Never say anything negative about you. You never say anything negative about me. Well, I don't know how that's going to work now. There could only be one president, Johnson. Only one. You guys can't co-president. Nina Turner told me that there was no such agreements. There are no pacts. There are no team Biden and Bernie, or team Bernie and anybody. It's just everybody want to be president. That's why everybody's running. So if everybody wants to be president, there can only be one. It's going to come down to this. And they both happen to have the same, well, not the same. Bernie had policies in 2015, and somehow now Elizabeth Warren has adopted a number of those. Well, of course, it's going to be confrontation at some point. And the further we go, the more that's going to happen. And being upset about it, I don't see how that changes anything. Okay. Maker of Things says we need to eat the rich with Clinton's hot sauce. Even that of Frank's. Frank's hot sauce works fine. Maker of Things says, isn't Bernie the winner being in a debate about him? Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Yeah, I think that Bernie, I think Bernie and Biden won. I think they both won. But Biden for other reasons, not because he was expertly, look at him, he answered great questions. Like they're going to try to blow it up in the media. Like, he was great, he was dynamic. No, he wasn't. He just got to lay back while Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, while they went after Bernie and then went after Elizabeth Warren, or they pitted them against each other or whatever, like why that happened, which gave Biden an opportunity to kind of just go like, hey, I'm not here, I'm just chilling, man, do his best Bill Clinton, like, man, I'm over here, like smoking some weed, just chilling out, man. Every time I was just over here, I was just telling Chris Tucker, I was like, Chris, man, we gonna play some old Prince records. Loud and clear, the winner of tonight's show of the debates, debate number 7, was Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, were tied in my opinion, but for very different reasons. Biden for keeping his head down. What's going on out there? Well, I'll come back later. And for Bernie, on the ropes, just tat, 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 tat. Tat, tat, tat. And then losers of the night, Tom Steyer, Amy Klobuchar. And I think Amy Klobuchar and Tom Steyer need to drop out. That's what I think about that. And I think Elizabeth Warren, when I say Elizabeth Warren, because she started a fight she couldn't finish. She chose not to finish. And it is what it is. All right, guys, I love you. I see you tomorrow is what? Wednesday. There's no show tomorrow night. There'll probably be a coffee show, though. We'll do something during the day. And then, but don't forget Friday, guys. Think about what you thought about tonight and have some questions or some comments ready for Friday. Because on Friday, it's Freedom Friday, where you get to call up to the show and you get to have the floor. So we do the Freedom Friday show every Friday around 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be here for that. I want to hear your opinions. So Friday, I do a monologue and then people talk. My callers call up, and I don't mince words. Like I don't like screen calls. So it'd be great for you to call up Friday and speak your truth to power. All right, guys. I got nothing but love for you. Don't forget. Don't let nobody take your cornbread. All right? It's your cornbread. Hold on to that. You're going to need that. There's nothing else here. No one else cooked. You need to have your own cornbread. Keep it in your pocket. And, oh, yeah, and sprinkle some facts on them. I'll see you soon. Peace. Oh, there you go. My name is Tim Black. You are now tuned into the most watched Black independent media news network in the country. We cover politics, we cover pop culture, we cover whatever matters in your world. If it goes down, I'm covering it. We do a show, live show, Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. Friday nights, we got what? A call-in show. Anybody can call in. Throughout the week, we put out little clips, short clips of important news. You don't want to miss it. Stay on top of your news. Go with a reliable source. I'm there for you. TBTV, this is where it's at. Subscribe today and remember, don't you let nobody take your cornbread. Johnson.